after that, in part B, we have 2m and then bracket 3m minus 5n bracket square and then plus. Extract common factor 3m. So extract 3m. And then we find that this part is common. So we take out this part, 3m minus 5n here. The rest, we put it downward. We have 2m left. And also, there are two brackets, power of 2. We just taken out 1. So, still 1 bracket inside, power of 1 inside. And then this one, positive 3m is left. But we find that m is also common, right? So basically, you should extract m also. If you find that there is no more common factor, then you can finalize your answer. What inside 2 times 3, we get 6m minus 10n plus 3. We check again, in each bracket, we have no common factor. We can't further factorize it. Then we stop our calculation. So, what's the major difficulties? I think part B is not very special. What's the major difficulties? Is that because of the n here? Oh, so before you proceed or finalize, make sure you check carefully. Is there any further more common part? N is also common. So, for me, I will extract n in the first step together. So, okay, right? So, any other question? Question 6. Everyone know we are going to estimate by the class mark, right? So this one, we assume it is 140 plus 149 divided by 2, 145.5, right? And then you use your calculator, 145.5, semicolon, 6 times. Don't mix up the order. Your calculator fixed it must be the data and then how many times? Sorry? 144.5. Sorry, I made a mistake. It should be 144.5. Okay, so nothing special here. Wait for a moment. Any other questions? Question 7. Any who got full marks in question 7? Just make sure you double check in public exam, then you can ensure to get level 2. Our target should be modified to level 3 now. Anyway, question 8. Why you laugh like this? Question 8. Do you know which question type it is? Simultaneous. And then they tell you to constrain. One of them is about the time, 135 minutes. Another constraint is about the distance. So to visualize the situation, we use a graph from A to B, and then from B to C. The total distance, they say, is 135 km. Second thing is about, we want to know about the time taken. So I let this time be T1. And then another time be T2 hour. It's okay? So to think about the time, T1 plus T2 is equal to 135 minutes. But just like what we mentioned, we use hour as our unit. It's for facilitate our calculation about the speed. So we have to change this one in terms of hour. We write 135 divided by 60 hours. We get the first equation. It's okay? So now the second criteria is about the distance. The total distance traveled is equal to 135 km. If we use this speed and the time is t1, that means the distance is the speed. This section is 54 km per hour. And then this section is 72 km per hour. The distance is the speed times the time spent for this section. Another section is the speed time, another section time spent. So what I write basically is the distance from A to B plus the distance from B to C. It's rely on whether you remember in your primary school you learn the distance is equal to the speed times travel. Do you remember that? Or the unit give you some hints. The speed, the unit is km per hour. That means it's equal to something km, that means distance, divided by the time, hour. You may try to memorize the formula in this way. The units give you some hints. Okay? So after that, it's nothing special. We just use simultaneous equation to solve it. You may use your calculator, but if you use your calculator directly, then you will lose one method mark because they ask you to show how you eliminate one unknown. And then it's really useful for check your answer, see whether it is correct. Understand? Do I need to demonstrate how to eliminate or? Then I just go to another question. Question 9. How many of you can find out the polar coordinate of P? Not many of you, right? So we draw the position. I need some more space. So the graph is like a polar coordinate, and then we have 75 degrees. Please write a little bit more steep. 75 degrees is close to vertical. And then 165 degrees, that means 90 degrees extra. So this is point B, this is point A. And then we know that this is isosceles triangle. And then they say that L is an asset of symmetry. So L is a line like this. Of course, some of you know that they are perpendicular, but the concern is the relation between this line and this angle. This is what we want to ask. So your answer should be, it is angle bisector. It's separate to two halves, and each of them 45 degrees. So when you describe it, you should say that it is angle bisector of angle AOB. But your concern is we have to find out the coordinates of P. But where is P? This point, right? The intercept point. So in your mind, you need to know where is point P first. Point P is here. And then to know about this point, there are two things you need to know. First, you need to know the distance from origin. Second, you need to know the direction. What is the corresponding angle? Which one is easier? The angle is easier. At least show me that you know how to find out the angle. So the angle P is something, and then the angle is 75 degree plus 45 degree, 120 degree. Is that okay? Now, so-called the question mark, that means how long it is. D is talking about the distance here. You realize that you're going to find out this line, then you set out some strategy. Any method, we can find out D, or any topic is related. Huh? You have the length, you have angle, so Sokatoa, that means trigonometry, right? So there are too many items. I try to isolate it by drawing this one. This is 12, this is 45 degree. Then we can use which ratio to find out D? Cosine ratio. So this is cosine 45 degree is equal to D divided by 12. D is equal to 12 cosine 45 degree. They do not say you have to find the exact value. So if you use the decimal value and then you put it inside, it should be fine. But if they say you need short form, then you should know that if it is 45 degree, a common ratio is 1 to 1 to what?
2.
It's not 2. Square root 1 square plus 1 square.
Yeah.
Square root 2. It's not just 2, square root 2. It's okay? So, you know that you may write in this way. You may write D to 12. D to 12 is equal to 1 to square root 2. D over 12 is equal to 1 to square root 2. So D is equal to 12 divided by square root 2. And then you have to simplify or rationalize it. So this is 2 times 6 over square root 2. It's become 6 times of square root 2. Oops. So in your solution, you will find that this is 6 square root 2. But it's too complicated for you, right? For some of you. So you just simply use the decimal values. Is that okay? Remember, in polar coordinate, it's possible that we need to apply trigonometric ratio to find it out. Other than 45 degree, this part may be 60 degree or some other things. Got it? So this one, please finish it at home. This is one of the common question type even in paper 2. So, question 10. It should be difficult for you in part B, right? No? You get A and B? Who get A and B? Huh? You get A and B also? How can you get it? So, still remember that, very good. So, but I still need to explain this very quickly. Part A, everyone know that you try to find P negative 3, and then you calculate, you get 0. That's why it is, right? So only 1 mark. It's about what below? Part B. It's given that this one is a factor. So if whenever we say something is factor, you expect the remainder is equal to 0, right? But now the problem is this is a quadratic, but not just simply a factor like this. So you better consider x squared minus 2x minus 15. You analyze it by factorize it. So it's x minus 5 and x plus 3 here. Divided by both things together will give you zero remainder. In other words, that means if you divide by any one of them, also divisible, right? So they try to imply you, therefore, qx or both x minus 5 and x plus 3 are a factor of qx. They do not directly tell you this and this are factor. They try to imply you these two together are both factors.
You have to write this to get the mark.
It's not necessary for you to write this to get the mark, but this just let you understand what's happening. Otherwise, I'm not sure whether you understand. So after that, therefore, it's just simply say Q5 is equal to 0 and Q negative 3 equal to 0. This is one of the common question types in CE before. Then the rest are the same. That's why Marcus say that is by solving a simultaneous equation. Give you 4 minutes to find out part B answer, and then we focus on part C. this is factor of qx only. But they tell you that x plus 3 is factor. And also in part 8, x plus 3 is also a factor. Then we try by x plus 3. We want to test whether it is zero. I mean, whether it is factor, right? So you already proved that x plus 3 is a factor. Then you just use normal division. You know one of the factors. Okay, you should get A and B already. And then, part C, please have a look in the front first. Part C. They say px plus qx equals 0. We are going to solve this, so we just start from here. And then before you start, you predicted that a cubic polynomial, or maybe I just continue. So x power 3 plus 4x squared minus 27x minus 90. And then plus qx, we already know qx here. So this is plus x power 3 minus 4x power 2 minus 11x plus 30. And then in this question, whenever you find all terms, we have even number, right? So we should divide both sides by 2 to make it smaller. So x power 3 minus 19x minus 30 is equal to 0. This is not a quadratic, but a polynomials. The key point is to you know any factor. You predicted that the next step must be something like this. But to do this, you need to know one of the factor here. Do you know any factor of this? X plus 3 is because the first term, it is factor of x plus 3. I mean, there is a factor which is x plus 3. The second term, x plus 3, is also the factor of the second term. So this is common factor. And you know that it is divisible by x plus 3. If you're not sure, of course you can put negative 3 inside and see whether it is 0. Okay? So after that, to get this one, you need to use the long division. 1x power 3 plus 0 x power 2 minus 19x minus 30. Don't forget to reserve a place for x power 2, even if it is 0 times. Otherwise, we don't get the same correct digit. So we divide both sides by x plus 3. Just do it by yourself. Finally, they say solve, that means we need to write down x equal to something. Wait, don't forget this. It's because this carb technique, I didn't find this carb technique for a few years already, so I'm not sure that this year they will test you this one. Another question. Is this kind of presentation okay? Yeah, I can have bigger questions. And then question 11. Area and volume problem again. Before you start, what is usually asked in area and volume questions? Ratios, link ratio, area ratio, volume ratio. If they give you volume, then you can build up the formula. And also all the formulas about the surface area, about the volume. You should memorize all those formulas, right? Now, they say that there is an inverted circular cone. And then there are some soft drink inside. And then after that, our original depth is 18. And then reduce some amount. The reduced amount is 364 pi. That means the volume differences of two cones is this amount. And then the height will become 15 afterward. Of course, you are going to compare similar shape, which is a cone, right? So every time, just simply draw something like this. One of the height is 18, while the height is 15 only. It gives you the length ratio. Very important thing is you have to show yourself very clearly, your unknown. I find that some of you like Marcus write down the unknown x, but in his mind, he don't really care what x representing in this case. So it's very close, but do not get the answer. If we use L1 be the bigger one, L2 be the smaller one, it's not necessarily your target directly. We just need to express different items. So it's equal to 18 to 15. Simplify, we get 6 to 5. This is the length ratio. Therefore, we concern about the volume because they tell us about the volume. Is equal to power of 3. So it's 216 to 125. It's okay? And then this helps you to let the volume of the larger cone and the smaller cone easily. If I let V1 equal to 216 units, K that means units, then what do you think about V2? 125 kilo. And then go back to the given information. Given that V1, the larger one, extract the smaller one, or in reverse order, or from the original soft drinks minus the volume, which is equal to the new volume, the remaining volume. Got it? So if you do so, each unit is 4 pi afterward. And it's helping you to answer your question. What's your what we want is the remaining soft drinks, right? That means we need V2. So finally you answer it. V2, the remaining volume is 125 times 4 pi. We get 500 pi.
Can you use the formula?
You can. You mean the length ratio equations, right? This is one of the methods. Once you get the ratio, you let it in terms of the same multiplier each unit, and then you calculate the units easily. Or another method, Let me cancel this part. Connected. Wait for a while. Or if you don't want to let K, then maybe you just write down V1 to V2 is equal to 216 over 125. And then you want V2, that's why you don't want V1. V1 is V2, this is V2. And then get extra 364. Oops. The key point is still the join. If you draw clearly, you know that you want this unknown, and then you try to change V1 in terms of V2 accurately. Is that okay? For some of you, this one may be easier, or let K is easier. It depends on you. So this kind of question, I need a higher accuracy. It's still too low at this moment. So you may check your, everyone have the booklet already, right? About the by topic questions. You find mensuration, okay? No out, no out.
So what about using the formula? 1 over 3 pi squared minus 3?
Oh, you mean that one, using the volume formula?
That one also.
Okay. If we use that one, then you have to let two different R. If this is R, small r, then the large R is you need to use the ratio to express it. Capital R to small r is equal to 18 over 15. So the capital R is equal to 6 over 5 times of R. From now on, we don't use two variables. We just express it both in terms of small r. It's okay? After that, we are still relying on V2 minus, V1. The bigger one minus V2, the smaller one, is equal to 364 pi. This is the only information that we have. Then we use 1 over 3 pi 6 over 5r bracket square times the height 18 minus 1 over 3 pi small r square times the height 15. So for the formula, you still need to use the length ratio to express it by one unknown only. Then you form an equation like this. Then you solve out afterwards. But generally, they're just the same. Okay? Usually this type of question, I will think using the ratio directly to build up equation is a more general method in many different situations. So again, after I explain it, please go back home to redo it if you do not get it in the beginning. So question 12. I think this one is relatively easy because we only have one solution and we don't need to consider the inequality. Any problem about this? B. The inner quarter range and the standard. If a player is randomly select, what is A? What is B? A is 9. A is 3. B is 9, right? And then if one player is selected randomly, find the probability that the range of that selected. Okay, so probability is always equal to your target divided by the total possibility, total outcome. Right? So 23 or above, that means from here we have 11 target. That's why it is 11. Divided by the total number of students is 14. That's all. What do you think just now? You think there is anything special? Huh? Okay, just simply forget it. Alright, 13, especially focus on part B. To be honest, the part A is one of the most easiest already among this type of question. I still find that most of you get 0 or 1. So in exam, just give it up. Give up this question. And if you need to do so, you know these two angles are the same. Angle ABD is equal to angle BDC. Many of you do not successfully write down the correct reason. It should be alternate angles. AB parallel BC.
Only these types of questions you have to write the reasons.
Proof is because of the word proof. And then after that, you say that it's given angle ADB equal to angle BCD. The reason is given. Basically, you should prove this angle is equal to this angle because of angle sum of triangle. Or you just say that two pair of angles are the same. That's why they are similar. There is one reference which is not written down in your textbook. It's called AA. This is also acceptable in our mathematical world. So even though it's not inside your textbook. Zero. It's very strict, just like what I mentioned. So our key point should be part B. Part B, many of you draw the triangle. If I consider this one is the larger one is fixed, then there is a smaller one. This is BCD. 1, 2, and then so this one should become B. And then this point should become A. And then finally, this point is D. It's because the graph is totally not on the same scale. B, C, D, A, D. Sorry, I make a mistake. It's because I wrongly labeled here. Mark it again. ADB, this angle equal to this angle. So point C, then this will become point B, and this is A. If you want to know the order, you just find out the order. A become B, B become D, D becomes C. Must be in order. Is that okay? So now we are going to write down the length. They say CD is 75. That means this is 75. They say BD is 60. So this is 60. At the same time, it's also appear in another triangle. It's common side. And furthermore, they say AD is 36. Why you need to rotate them to make it become the same direction is because you can find out their corresponding size very quickly. Only DC and BD, this pair of corresponding sides, they give you both values. So you know that their length ratio are fixed. If you need to get AB, this to this should equal to this one. So 60 over x should equal to 75 to 60. It's because the length ratio are constant. So x is equal to 60 times 60 over 75. We got 48. That means AB. Whenever they ask, they say that they are similar, 100% sure, the length ratio constant, this one will come up. AB here, they have similar thing like this, 100% sure. Also in paper 2. So we know AB is 48. If you try to use Pythagoras theorem to find out this one is 48, at least don't write that down, okay? Because just the answer, we don't know the step, I can still give you answer now. But if you write down the wrong method, then no one will be given. And is that right angle? It's before that we don't know this is right angle. That's why you can't use Pythagoras theorem. Once you know three lengths, then you can test whether they are a right angle triangle. Sorry, this one is 48. They ask you, is ABD, is this triangle right angle? Then you test by converse of Pythagoras theorem. You have to assume that you don't know that they are the same. So consider AB squared plus AD squared, the shorter length square add together. We pretend that we don't know they are finally equal, and then we just calculate. And I get this one. And we know that BD square, we also consider BD square is give 60 square. Also give us this one. And then you can make your conclusion since you know it satisfies this relation. That's why it is right angle triangle. It's okay. Don't lose any marks here if they ask you to prove they are right angle triangle. Already overrun. So time is limited, so we continue. It's difficult. Question 14. We are going to find out the perpendicular line which is passed through this point. Everyone know that, right? And then A2 is difficult. You want me to demonstrate or not? Yes. Someone say yes, then I demonstrate for a while. I hope we have longer lesson time. Okay, so very quickly, M1 is equal to -3 over 4. So our target slope is 4 over 3. That's why equation of L is y minus 3 over x plus 7 equal to 4 over 3. You get this one. And then in part 2, they say that G is a point line on L2. So L2 maybe is like this, L2. And then there is a point G line on it. That means the XY combination will fulfill this requirement. If you know the x coordinate of point G, you can get the y coordinate. In reverse, if we tell you the y coordinate, you can trace back what is the x coordinate. It's because it's lie on this curve. I mean lie on this line. Okay? After that, they say that G y coordinate. Now we know this one is k. We let it be k. In order to find out what is this, we try to consider when y is equal to k, k is equal to 4 over 3x plus 37 over 3. So 3k is equal to 4x plus 37. We want x. So x is equal to 3k minus 37 and then divided by 4. This one is supported by terms here. So we know that our calculation is fit the result in some extent. Okay, after that, what they say is there is a circle. I write down the coordinate first. It's 3k minus 37 over 4. And then C is a circle passing through A with center G. A is another point on this line. Because it's how we get the equation of L2, right? And then they say G is a circle passed through A. So we say that G is the center, and then we have a circle like this. Okay? Understand what I mean? So to get the equation of circle, even though you can't handle the computational skill afterward, but equation of circle, you can show your understanding. We have a moving point, x, y. The radius is equal to the fixed radius here, right? So we comparing xy with the center. That's why we write x minus. And then it's equal to the radius. We compare a center with a fixed point. If you tidy up this equation, you will get your final answer. This one. But in case you're able to handle this calculation, okay? So we just stop here and then we get some method marks. But even though A2 is so difficult, is there any method you can get some marks from part B? Do you know why they need to ask you to prove, but they don't just ask you to find it out? It's because the setter also know that most of you not able to achieve this. But they still want to test your understanding afterward. So that's why they ask you to prove. In other words, that means they try to give you this information. Understand? You don't need to know how it's come from, but you just prove. You just trust this one is correct. Afterward, when you calculate this, you know that point B pass through B. That means point B is on this circle, lie on this circle. That means you know that when x is equal to 1, then y should equal -1, which fulfill this requirement. So if you replace x and y, only one unknown, then you can log the value of k. Understand what I mean? So this calculation is much easier. Fex replaced by 1, Fey replaced by -1. Why you come back? Just leave from my vision. Alright, after you know about K, that means you have the full picture of this circle. Uh, 3 times 23. This taskbar wastes my space. Make sure you have x 1x squared plus 1y squared so that you can use the formula. Then you just use the formula. Or you show me that you know the formula. What's the formula? Of radius. Something squared plus something squared minus f. It's okay. So finish it at home. I want to go through more part. So 15. Is that difficult? It's not really difficult. And then the key point is at the same time, so we are going to use combination or permutation. Because we don't have any differences between English books, so we use combination only. And then at least 2 books are selected. That means 2 English books and 2 non-English. This is the first case, or 3 English books and 1 non-English, or 4 English books and 0. So that's why this one is I just demonstrate one term. Among 5 English books we take 2, and then among 7 non-English books we take 2. Without any constraint, is all the books together 12, we take out 4. Similar thing for NR3, NR2. So that's all. Finally, 2 more questions. Oops, sorry for overrun. This one is a very ad hoc question. It's about a normal distribution like this. They don't tell you the standard score, but instead they tell you what is the ratio of that part. In your textbook, they tell you that the standard score is 0. Mu plus 1 SD, 2 SD, 3 SD. and then each part is become smaller and smaller. So if your IQ is 3 SD, that means you are already the top 1%, even less than that. Okay, so they say that 0.15%. If you remember the textbook, they say this is approximately 34%. Approximate, you need to remember. And this one is approximately 45. I mean here together is 45%. And then if you consider the 3 SD, that include 49.5%. That means this part is less than 1%. So they try to tell you that this standard score is 3 SD. So they try to imply you this is standard score equal to 3, positive 3. Okay? So after that, no difference at all. They say the mean is 46 and this score is this one. We have to find the standard deviation. So the calculation is the data 88 minus the mean 46 divided by SD is equal to the corresponding standard score. They use an indirect method to tell you the standard score is 3 times. That's why I say that the standard score tells you the approximate ranking. If you get the standard score is 3 SD above the mean, that means you are really, really outstanding. Okay? For more exact value, you may just use your check your textbook. But generally, this one is around 30-something%. This is around 45-something%, and this part is less than 1%. Okay? Sorry, I mean the last part is less than 1%. And they tell you 0.15% here. Okay, sorry. No, it's useless to stab your face. Mensuration.
No, menstruation. It's menstruation.
Menstruation.
Mensuration.
What's happening?